Welcome back, everybody. I am incredibly excited to talk to somebody who I've been watching since I came to the United States. Welcome to the program. If you haven't recognized him already, it's a wonderful actor, voiceover actor, director, George Newbern. Welcome, George.
Hello. Good to see you, Alan.
It's likewise. I literally half an hour ago, and I mean that literally, I watched Father of the Bride Part 3-ish.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's cute. It's fun. Had a good
Yeah,
time.
it really is, and it made me tear up. Of course, I'm not surprised by that.
It's
But
really sweet.
it's interesting. And if by the way, our audience, if you haven't seen it yet, we're going to put a link right below the video, so please
Awesome.
go and check it out. Please
Awesome.
donate because it's
Awesome.
certainly needed. Um, and kind of, my background into kind of the Father of the Bride is I came to the United States in '89, and
Hmm.
then in '91,
Where?
when Father of the
Where'd you
Bride,
come from?
huh?
Where did you move from?
Ukraine.
Oh, Ukraine. Oh, wow. Cool.
Moved from Ukraine when I was a kid. I was 14 years old, and then we came to Chicago, where you graduated from Northwestern.
That's right. But I don't even detect any sort of accent from you. That's amazing. I mean, I really I don't hear it. I've got a pretty good ear.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hear it myself on certain words. Like sometimes I feel like I'm mispronouncing it or putting the emphasis on a different part of the word than
Right. Right. Right.
normal is.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that my accent disappears when I'm actually doing another accent.
Right. 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 I'm sure. I'm sure. Right.
That goes away. So it's one of those weird things. I think one of my acting teachers early on said two things, right? And this is before HD, but she said you have to color your hair, which I'll go into in a second. And then she said you have to get rid of accent and you have to have the standard Midwestern, accent. Um, I did the first, and then after that experience, I decided not to do the second. I went to a barber and I said, okay, well, I don't want to really dye my hair, but we need to make it a shade lighter. What's a shade lighter? So he shows me two strands of hair that are almost identical, and I'm thinking, oh, do it. So he puts his stuff in. I sit there for about an hour, and then he takes it off, and I'm not in front of a mirror. Takes it off, and I see his eyes, and his eyes go like, I'm thinking, okay, what? He
Yeah.
says, um, you have color in your hair that's different from what it appears. And then, and then he shows me a mirror, and my hair is bright red,
Oh God. Oh
bright
God.
red, like
Not good.
red, orange, just a unnatural
Yeah.
color that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
very, very odd. Kind of reminds me of your shirt, but not as natural and
No.
bright.
I had to dye my hair once red for a musical I was doing in Chicago, and I am not a good redhead. It does not look good on me. Yeah.
Neither am I. And I laughed. I asked him how long that would take in order to get rid of that color. I don't remember what he said, but
Cut it.
for
You got to cut it short. It's going to take you about 4 months. Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
for whatever reason, I did not. Well, I'm sure I took photos, but I cannot find those photos. I want to find those photos. I came home. My wife, who I think we got married, recently before I did that. I
Yeah.
thought my wife might have second thoughts after a
Yeah.
while.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
So yeah, that was my experience, and then I never got rid of the accent or never really get tempted to anyway.
I mean, I can tell you have a slight accent, but it's very slight, and I wouldn't have guessed Russian. Actually, I would have just thought somewhere European, but very light. Very light.
Well, if you'd like, we can talk with a Russian accent.
Bullshit, I know how to do the but I don't know how to, I don't understand any Russian. But
Yeah.
I can add it a little bit, a little bit. But
Yes, that is correct. And the funny part is I'm doing the Russian accent, and I am trying to kind of channel the people that are around me. And
yeah,
then my friends are looking at it, and they're like, "This is not a Russian accent." I said, "What do you
yeah.
mean? It is a Russian accent." I am
Russian. But you're not. But so from Ukraine, would you be ethnically Russian or not? No. Is there a difference?
Yeah,
What?
I'm ethnically Jewish. So yeah,
Okay, forgive me. I mean, but in the
yeah,
Ukraine, aren't there Ukrainian, not Russians, but is it a Ukrainian clan?
yeah. Well, so
But
Ukraine is a large country, and when I was there, it was still the Soviet Union, and I
right,
was on eastern part. So
Right.
for us,
That was
Russian
more Russian.
was the first language.
Right. Right.
And Ukrainian was a language that we learned. After I left,
Right.
then they switched, and Ukrainian became the first language, and then Russian was, for some people whose, Russian was the first language, they kind of kept that part of it. The
Right.
western part of Ukraine is all Ukrainian.
Right.
Eastern part
Right.
of Ukraine is kind of a mix. So I come from that mix.
And the Ukrainians, they do not consider themselves Russian. So right.
No.
They're like, no. Yeah. Got it.
And it was funny to me because when I came here, when I left, I didn't consider myself Ukrainian or Russian or anything else. It was like,
Right.
well, they took our passports at the border, so you were a man without country.
Right.
And
Wow.
I came here, and everybody said I was Russian. I said, okay, fine, I'm Russian. And then a few years later, the wall comes down, and then everybody starts calling me Ukrainian. And I said, okay, fine, I'm Ukrainian. So I never considered myself one or the other. It was just how people referred for their ease of reference.
Exactly.
Yeah. So 89, right? And then in 91, your movie came out.
The first, what do you mean, Father of the Bride?
Yes, part one.
The first Father of the Bride was 91.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the second was 95 or something like that.
Yeah. 93? I'll double check on that. Either way, I remember it exceptionally well because I'm a hopeless romantic. I love, rom-coms.
Yeah.
And I was 16 years old, and I was dreaming of what my future is going to be like.
Yeah.
And, Brian, who you were playing, reminded me of myself, just a nice, nice kid. And he was marrying somebody who was completely my type in Annie. So a few years in advance, I actually found my own Annie lookalike because she is brunette. She has, curly hair. So her name is not Annie, but I came as close as I could.
There you go.
So that movie, again, it's just kind of watching the Father of the Bride Part 3-ish. Brought back a lot of these memories. So how was it for you? Because I know that, I know how it was shot, which was very lovely.
Yeah, it was a really great experience, I must say. I had a couple of funny bits that they got cut, and Nancy, I was like, dang it. I mean, I'm sort of kind of just in the background of this thing, but just getting to do it and being at my house and seeing the big Zoom screen with Robert De Niro and Martin Short and Diane Keaton and everybody, and I haven't talked to Steve in probably 10 years, and I bumped into Diane a couple times around LA, but I haven't seen Martin, and I'd never met Robert De Niro. So my wife and I kept looking at each other. It's like, this is surreal. In the middle of a pandemic, we're all goofing around and yakking it up and cracking jokes for 5-6 hours a day. It was like shooting days. But it was just an exceptionally fun experience, honestly. Ben Platt, I always wanted to meet him. He's a great kid, plays my son, and Florence Pugh, amazing, and Alexander Shipp, really awesome. But I couldn't have had a better time, honestly. Yeah. Technology wise, it was a real crazy because I had this computer.
Yep.
Then I had an iPhone was shooting here.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my personal iPhone over here just kind of recording the experience. So Nancy, the director, was looking at us. Wait, I was just trying to. She was looking at us through the laptop, through this laptop. But the iPhone on top here was actually recording everything. But she was able to monitor that and this real time, which I don't know how. But anyway, but it was crazy. We had one screen that was all tech people, like the DP and the lighting guys and the grips and the Nancy, and then the other half was us. So she could toggle between the cast and it was really amazing. And actually, the way they intercut between the iPhone footage and the actual movie footage from a movie that was a long time ago, it's pretty seamless. It really, you know what I mean? Most Zoom stuff looks a certain way, but it looked like film. It really looked like film. So I thought.
Yeah. It was great. And then, they got, it seemed like they have, when they were doing the footage of the house, the outside of the house, it seemed like it's a recent shot. Is that house still around? That's what it looks
Yeah,
like now.
I can go to my Instagram. My wife and I did a bit. We drove out to Pasadena where the house is and did a little. I was screaming at the house. The house is exactly the same, and I was
Wow.
calling for George. I'm like, George, and he wouldn't come out. So go to my Instagram and see the little
Yeah.
bit. Funny.
I'm,
Uh,
we're gonna post this right below here, so please look it up.
Awesome. But yeah, no. So it was really neat, and hopefully, we raise some money for World Central Kitchen and help folks out during this really weird time we're in. So
Certainly is. And the funny thing about George is, again, your name is George.
I know, and my father-in-law's name was George in real life.
Oh, in
My
real life too?
my wife's dad's name is George, so I was like, what? Crazy.
I can only imagine how it was, especially doing the Zoom movie. You
Yeah,
have your name is George, you
I
have
know.
George and George Jr.
Constantly, I was saying, which one? We were like, which one? Which one? Yeah.
That's
Nuts.
I thought they did a really nice job, and they picked the kids, because everybody wants to know who's going to play the kids. I thought they did a really nice job with the kids.
Right. And Kieran is all grown up. And, I think maybe, God, wouldn't that, wow, if my fantasy would be to do the next incarnation. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows? I think it'd be fun.
I certainly hope so, and I'm definitely for it.
Yeah.
It's a movie that, or the whole thing, obviously, is going to stay with me forever because of what it kind of meant in my life.
Right. I agree. I get, people still, I get stopped in airports about that movie, but nothing else like recently, but like that always, it's funny.
Even after Scandal, it didn't change.
A lot of people do it for Scandal, but that movie has just more sort of generational, staying power.
Because it's hard, because we remember it from the emotions and the
right. It's great. It's a universal theme. It's a great script, and the actors are funny. I mean, it's just super funny. It's really funny. That's it. I was Steve Martin when Steve Martin goes, I will, if that movie's on, I will stop and watch it. I don't ever make a point of watching it, but if it's on, I'll watch it. And when he's at my parents' house snooping in the bathroom, he's hilarious. He's freaking hilarious. He's like Buster Keaton,
Absolutely.
Great.
And I'm hoping there was a body double that he didn't have to, jump out of the window. But
I think he did a lot of it. I don't know. I didn't ever see a double, honestly. But
good job. I mean, when he was climbing the, in the version of
right.
Bergerac, I didn't know whether that was all Steve or somebody else, but he looks like he can do it. I don't know.
Yeah. Then maybe not now. But yeah.
The thing with Scandal is that, again, I associate you with Father of the Bride. So watching you in Scandal, it took me a while to
sort of go. Yeah, I know.
One of the experiences, like from an acting perspective, I can get how that would be really fun to do. But from a viewer perspective, took a while to get used to.
Yeah, it took a minute. Yeah, I mean, my personality even. When we shot Father of the Bride, Nancy and her then husband Charles, they kept saying, "No, nicer." It's like, I'm not this nice. I can't. I'm actually more like the Scandal guy, oddly enough. I mean, just in the sort of weird quirkiness of him. But in order for that character in Father of the Bride to work for Steve, he had to be blameless. He had to have no edges whatsoever, like zero. I mean, smooth around the edge, so that he couldn't find fault with him. That was the problem, So, but as an actor, it's really hard. Actually, I gotta say, it's hard to play that kind of, because it's not real. I mean, for me, it's not. It's very difficult to just be that enthusiastic and that good of a person. I mean, So.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, all right. So you're a little more like like Charlie.
Well, not like Charlie, and I was getting about, but I mean, somewhere in between. Somewhere in the middle.
I get you. Actually, one more thing that I found interesting, kind of doing more background before the interview, is that you got married to your lovely wife in 1990, and you were shooting in 90 because it came out in 91. So you were a newlywed shooting, a movie about being a newlywed.
By the way, when I got the part, my wife goes, "Oh my God, thank God we got married before this, so we wouldn't have to be comparing that wedding to this wedding." Like, oh God, right?
No swans at your wedding? Are you sure?
No. It was a much smaller affair.
Very cool. So getting to Scandal, from what I understand, please correct me if I'm wrong, but the role was initially just a guest star role, and then it continued.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you that whole experience was such a life changing and one in so many ways, and because as an actor, you go on auditions all the time, or if you're lucky, you get to go on auditions all the time, and but when you've been around for a while, people know your work, and this particular casting office knew my work, and I'd been in probably, I don't know, 5 times and not gotten any of the jobs. So I got the call and I was like, oh man, they know me there, and it's just a guest spot, and my God, after everybody, I mean, it's not like, I mean, I was not, and it's a new show. I was like, I don't know if this looks any good, and literally my wife goes, I saw this show, you have to go to it because it's a good show. I was like, okay, almost didn't go, honestly, because it's weird. When you've been doing it for so long, sometimes you're looking for reasons not to go because you're like, oh, I'm not going to get it. I want to go through the hassle. I was like, but I went, and I thought, okay, this could be a fun part, but I didn't think I'd get it. And then they called and I got it. But once I got on set and started doing it, I was like, oh, I think I know how to make this guy a lot more interesting than he's written, by just adding some touches, some sort of behavioral touches to the guy. And I did it. And then they asked me back like 2 episodes later for one more. I was like, oh, okay, good. And then another one. And then the season was over because it was a half season. I thought, okay, that was fun. I'll do 2, 3. And when this show started shooting again, I had my agent call and said, hey, is that character dead? And they go, yeah, they just called and said, definitely, he's not coming back. But they loved you. Great job. I was like, screw it. Whatever. Okay. But literally that afternoon, they called back and said, you know what? The writers called and said they actually want you for 4 episodes. I was like, okay. Yeah. So that was great. I mean, it changes on a dime, but literally for 4 seasons, while the show was a huge hit, I was there for sort of every other episode, but I was still a guest star. So every week at the table read, I didn't know if I was going to be killed off or not. So I would literally go there, and nobody got in the script, and I go, well, I don't know. Is this it? Is this? So, but I think I just ingratiated myself, honestly, to everybody. I said, I was just tried to be the guy who could do it. I tried to do everything, and my character actually, because that story world was so whack and so crazy. Yeah. My character ended up being able to service all of these crazy connections because he was a for hire bad guy. So luckily, and then the fact that I ended up in season 5, ended up with the girl. I mean, I was like, okay, now they got to make me a regular. They made me sweat it out another half season. So the final season, I was made a regular. So I mean, honestly, I wish I'd been made a regular earlier, but I'm very grateful for the episodes I did. But just to say to other actors out there, you should never know, and just go to the audition. Just go, because you never know how that's going to turn out. Because and it ended up honestly resurrecting my dead career at that moment, because I just felt like, kind of out of money. I'm landed with an agency I don't really think is very good at this point for me. I don't know how this is going to end. I mean, I was, every actor goes through that sort of cycle in their career, and I'd been at all the big agencies, the middle agencies, small agencies, and I had some success, and then I had dry period, and then right before Scandal, I thought, well, I think this is it. I'm gonna have to figure out something else. I don't really have enough money to where I got to find something else to do. I didn't know what it was going to be. And then that literally gave me oxygen. And Shonda, that opportunity gave me oxygen. I got a new agent and I got a new manager. It was life-giving. And then I started establishing another voiceover stuff that I hadn't done before. And because of the success of one thing of Scandal, I got more attention than others. So long story short, that show absolutely was like a blood transfusion in my life and in my career, for sure. But that's great. Yeah, very rare. It does not happen to 45-year-old guys. It just does not happen.
Well, as a 45-year-old guy, I'm certainly hoping it does.
Yes, hang in there for sure.
Yeah. The Scandal, again, I loved the show.
Yeah.
At some point, I had to stop watching it because I was literally getting PTSD.
Yeah,
And
no, I believe it. I believe it. Well, then when the current president we have, he's he's such an extreme figure that I think that they ran out of gas. They were like, we don't know what
right.
truth is way stranger than fiction here.
Mhm.
So I think that was really her way to say we got to stop this. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't tell the story much anymore. We don't know what to do with it.
Right. Yeah. How much wackier can you get
Well,
when
no, it couldn't, and truth has reality has borne that out for sure. So
unfortunately. And I mean, your fellow Superman voice,
yeah,
Tim Dayton, I love Madam Secretary, and
yeah,
they've tried to incorporate kind of as much of the craziness as they can of
yeah,
what's happening in reality into the show.
right,
Uh, and it's cathartic for me because you see all of the horrible stuff that's happening in reality, and in that
yeah,
movie, in that series, they can actually do something about it, and it resolves itself. So you
correct,
feel,
correct. But the Scandal was not that kind of show.
yeah,
Scandal was like this,
I know,
serialized banana town stuff
yeah,
that Madam Secretary is based in some reality. Scandal was not necessarily based in reality. I don't think. Maybe it is, but I think that people do it's too much. But it burns so hot. It burns so hot. I don't know that they could go any longer. Honestly.
probably not.
Yeah.
I've heard Shonda talk about it that like okay, I think we're done. We
I think
can,
I could tell. I could tell.
yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about voiceover, which was another part of your career
Yeah.
that I didn't know much about.
Yeah.
But it started in '91, I think, or around that time when you did your first voiceover spot, and then
Actually, I did something. I came to LA in 87, 86, 87.
mhm,
And I think that next year I got my first animation job, which was a cartoon called Pirates of Dark Water with
yeah,
Jodie Benson, who was Little Mermaid, and Tim Curry. Who else? Roddy McDowell, um, uh, directed by Helen Hunt's dad, Gordon Hunt, and that it was at Hanna Barbera. I think it was the last year that Hanna Barbera was an entity, an animation company. So, but anyway, we did 2 seasons of that. It was amazing. So that was my first real animation thing. So,
gotcha.
but then since then, I just sort of had little things here and there. And then the Superman thing went forever. And then I did this video game voice for Final Fantasy, which is sort of, and then I've had this other sort of tertiary career going to these conventions for the voiceover stuff.
Yeah,
There's a whole other world. I didn't even know this was out there. And as an actor, you just the landscape has changed so much. You just go with it. You say, "Yep, I'll go to that convention and meet fans and sign autographs. Why not? Hey, it's another part of the business. It's fun.
absolutely. And you've mentioned kind of before Scandal, you were a bit worried about your career. Um,
Always, yeah, always. Like now, I'm terribly worried, but that's just me. So yeah,
Well, I didn't realize that, right? Because looking from the outside, and I think the first person that I heard it from was Pierce Brosnan. Pierce
yeah.
Brosnan was talking about making Mrs. Doubtfire, and they asked him, "How did you feel about that?" He's like, "Well, the first thought was, thank God I have another job to do." I'm like, "You're Pierce Brosnan? Are you kidding?"
No, it
And it's
doesn't mean anything.
that's reality, yeah.
Yeah, no one feels. I don't think anyone feels like that. Maybe Brad Pitt, but
Could be, could be.
or Edward Clooney. Maybe those two guys don't feel like that. But I don't know. I don't know. At a certain point, though, honestly, if you, I know I'm sort of going all over the place here, but
Please, that's what I want.
um, you know, young actors, a young actor today where are you based in Chicago?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, you know, the Los Angeles entertainment world for a young actor is very different than New York or Chicago or anywhere else. So,
Yeah.
but it is so radically changed when I got out of college at 22 and came to LA to sort of like, hey, I'm here, let's do this, let me figure this out. It's very different now. It's very, very different in the sense that th- there's a lot of opportunity, but the pay and the ability to make a living at it has been decimated in the sense that you have to You have to learn how to do other things. Before, you could just literally be an actor and go, okay, if I just get on a series, there was a way to sort of get a toehold and get up and get, but now there's so many different outlets for TV shows and streaming services, and not so much movies anymore, but there's so many opportunities that way. There's a lot less money unless you are the top liner in these things. The top liner folks are still doing okay, but for a young actor who's trying to get a leg up, I would only say, learn how to write, learn how to produce, learn how to create things for yourself, or have a side career. Either be independently wealthy, that would help, or learn how to be. And it's so funny. My daughter's a designer, and I was just talking to her today, and I said, learn to be a creator, not a waiter. Not a waiter at a restaurant, but don't wait. Create, don't wait. Waiting for people to give you permission to do things is a dead end. It used to be, when I was starting, that you could kind of get away with it, because there was just, if you did get a job, you got paid pretty damn well quickly, so you didn't have to get two or three other jobs. But now it is, you're foolish if you don't learn how to write, if you don't learn how to direct too. But more than anything, I would say writing and producing. Those two things will create opportunity for you, because if you're waiting for somebody, nobody's waiting to give you anything. Nobody cares. So in order to be the best and have some sort of say about your future, learn how to make something. If anything, what it does, it gets you out, and you get to matriculate with creative people, because actors can sometimes just sort of be in a silo, by themselves, or hey, I'm going to audition for this play. They go do the play, and it's sort of like summer camp, and that's great and everything. But then you're just, like I say, there's two completely different careers. Los Angeles film and television, just a whole nother bird. It's not that it's any less better or worse. It's just different, and the stakes can be a little higher in terms of, opportunities and whatnot. But if you're going to go to California or New York, but definitely California, make sure you know how to do other things. Or when you first get there, learn it. Have parallel careers. That's what I would say. Don't do what I did. It worked when I did, but it won't work now. It will not work now. Because even if you're a young actor, you get lucky, you get a good job on a series, the next one, they don't say, oh, I have, my quote is 10,000 or whatever the number is. Your next job, unless you're like a crazy breakout star, they'll go, no, we'll pay you the minimum scale. And they're like, well, wait, don't you know they don't care. They don't care, because they know there are enough actors out there that will work for nothing. And there's a ton of non-union stuff, and that's a whole other issue. But so to safeguard yourself against that, young actors, please learn other things. Please, I beg you to learn other things.
Yeah, thank you for that advice. It's very valuable, and I hear that from most of the actors that I talk to.
My God, I wish somebody told me that. I wish somebody had impressed that upon me. I heard it, but I didn't really know it. I was like, yeah, maybe. But now I'm like, I'm 93 years old. I'm not going to turn around and reinvent myself that much. But if I was 22, you better damn sure I'd be, freaking screenwriting class, and working for a producer, and looking for material, and saying, hey, I know these three people. We did a play together. Let's shoot a short with the three of us. That's how Ben Affleck and Vince Vaughn and Wes Anderson and that's how they all did it. And they were right at the cusp of that. And they're 10 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. That was right when you had to do it. So I come from the future and the past to scare you.
Wow. It's the good scare that needs to be done. I mean,
it's just reality. It's just reality. Yeah.
This is what I'm doing here.
Right.
COVID happened, and no work. I have a career outside of this, but instead of me continuing to go to workshops and take online workshops, I decided to start the show and just talk to people. And this opened doors that would probably have never been opened had I not done this.
Right.
And this vehicle on its own, depending on how things go, but there are signs that on its own can be a career. So
Yeah, there's no question about it. Listen, there are enough people, there's enough interest. If you connect with enough eyeballs, I mean, it doesn't have to be some huge number, but if you find a niche, a relevant niche that there's a demand to hear what you're saying. I mean, you go reinvent yourself all day long. I mean, it's amazing. That's the silver lining of this awful situation,
that's
So
true. For me, if we, God willing, we all survive, 2020,
we will.
but yeah, we will. I want to be able to look at 2020 from the perspective of saying it was a really trying year, but during it, this and this and this incredible thing happened. And that's how I'm trying to do it.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Good.
yeah. Talking about your daughter, I was going to bring that up because my daughter is 16. Your daughter is a bit older. Are you getting ready to be the father of the bride, or?
Oh my God, I've got a 25-year-old, a 21-year-old, and then my son is 17. So I hope not. I just give me a minute. I'm still paying for college. I don't have time. I can't, not yet.
My goodness. And then what took you to Northwestern? It seemed like everybody went to Northwestern. You went, your wife went, Kimberly went to Northwestern after you.
Kim went. My wife's sister and her husband both went there. Gosh, so many. I know so many people, actors. Seth Meyers went there. Stephen Colbert was a classmate of mine, a friend at school.
Oh,
And oh yeah, and who else? Josh. Sorry. Goodness gracious, Scrubs.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what's his name?
Oh my God, you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
This happens.
Yes. I kind of look like him. Yeah.
Good God. Yeah, a little bit. I can see that. Yeah. What's his name? Jesus Christ. He's like a big actor. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Scrubs. It's Josh. Jeez. Whatever.
It's here. We're getting Scrubs cast.
Of course. When you say it. I don't feel so bad. You can't remember.
Hold on a second. Are you talking about one of the main guys, or
the main guy? He's dating Florence Pugh.
Are you talking about Zach?
Yeah, Zach Braff. That's what I mean. He went to Northwestern. Jeez, that was a long way to get there.
Zach Braff. And again, talking about what you were just referencing, and Zach created his own movies.
Correct. That's exactly what he was supposed to do. Exactly.
So yeah, it's.
And then Kerry Washington went on, scandal. She went straight in production company and you just make your own stuff. Yeah, I mean, I have no excuse. I have no excuse that I haven't done this, other than the fact that I've been looking the other way and trying to raise children and pay for things. I mean, I'm just, So.
Speaking of pay, and again, no need for real numbers, but in terms of all of the voiceover stuff that you're doing,
right?
Is that providing enough of a foundation to sustain a career, or not really?
Well, I do. Well, there's animation, and then there's commercial voiceovers. You can make very good money if you get enough of them. They're just very difficult to get. And I've had some real good ones. The animation, television animation, are the best show business, better than on-camera jobs, because they pay residuals. On-camera stuff doesn't pay many residuals anymore. So if you get a voice part on, like, The Simpsons or King of the Hill or American, those animated things that are actually shown popular, those guys are so well off, it's crazy. And you're like, I don't even know who that person is, and they do, because they residualize. And I don't. So if you get one of those, that's great. Animation is the best. And then I do a lot of narration for audiobooks that I discovered, through a friend of a friend about 7 years ago. So I have my own little studio, and so that's what I get up and do every day. And that's not a lot of money, but it's something that for me, it keeps my head straight, and I don't need an agent for it. I just kind of do it myself, and so for me, that's been good. But in terms of money, really, animation is where you want to be. That's where you want to be.
Yeah. Jim Meskimen is going to be on tomorrow. So, talk about voiceover stuff. I've seen him everywhere. That's how I view him. But when I looked on his IMDb, he has 300 credits.
Yeah, those are the real good jobs. Yeah, those are the good ones. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. A few more questions for you, just because you've been in a lot of sets and you've done a ton of stuff. If you had to pick, one favorite experience from a set, whether we know about it or not, which one would you pick?
There have been I've grown up. Just look at the trajectory of my personal life and my career, and it's sometimes it's hard to sort of separate what I was feeling as a human being as opposed to what was creatively more interesting or whatever. But I have so many that I loved. Ones that stand out was one of the first things I did when I came to LA was a TV movie with Elizabeth Shue, and Mark Gordon was a producer. It was one of his first things he'd produced, called Double Switch, for the Disney Channel. And I played, it was like a Prince and the Pauper story, and I played the rock star and the normal guy, and we switched places. So that was my first big part in Hollywood, and I'd only been in town 5 months, and it was a huge deal to me. And I got to be funny. I got to perform as a rock star. It was hilariously fun, and I met a lot of amazing people. So that was really my first big amazing experience.
Pause for a second, because it seems like your first job that you're describing right now kind of is a microcosm of your career, because you played the prince and you played the rock star.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was. And honestly, after that, I kind of went into a bit of a depression, because I was like, oh shit, that was really kind of a perfect job, and I don't know that I'm ever going to get a part that good again. I didn't have any point of reference yet, but I did know that it was special, and I was like, God, this is going to be hard to match this, and I was right. It just took a long time before I would sort of get that much like excited about a really great part again. I was working, and I'd gotten movies, and I got a couple leads in movies, but the movies weren't very good, and I think the next thing that I really loved was I started a movie for MGMUA called It Takes Two. I was getting married. I gotten married in a lot of things, but this was the first marriage movie that I did, and it took place in Texas, and I'm also buying my first car and getting married at the same time, sort of as a coming of age thing about a car and a woman. I thought it was really, it's actually pretty damn good for people to look up. It's a quintessential late 80s movie. Mm-hmm. And then, go to IMDb and look it up. But the next great, did a show called Bull on TNT, about Wall Street. It's TNT's first series, or their second series, around 2002, and that was amazingly fun. Stanley Tucci was in it, and Kathy Baker, and myself, and it was amazing. We did a season and a half of that. Michael Chernichen, who runs SVU right now with Dick Wolf, he was the creative running producer, and writing was spot on and fun, and it was amazing. And then Scandal was definitely the high point for the last 15 years for me. And then doing Superman, that's a whole nother, the trajectory of getting Superman and getting to work with all those actors. That's been one of the high points for me, for sure. And Father the Bride, clearly that was hugely. Adventures in Babysitting was an amazing experience for me. So I had a lot happen right away, and then I had a dry period, and then I had a lot, and then I had a dry period, and then I had a lot, and then I had a really long dry period, and then I had some really great big things. So it's hard to tell somebody how it's going to go, but I've been very lucky, and I've had a lot of downtime. So you have to decide, what kind of life you want to live. So.
Well, I'm glad you stuck with it, and it seems like
Yeah, me too. So, yeah.
If you had to pick, and maybe maybe it's from Scandal because seeing some of the stuff that you've done there certainly could suffice. But what's the weirdest thing that ever happened to you on the set?
Well, I'd have to say Scandal for sure. There's no question about that. I mean, my first scene, I was naked with duct tape, and someone was with a circular saw about to saw me in half or torture me. Definitely the weirdest thing I've ever done, for sure. For sure.
And who's and you've worked with amazing actors, but if from a pure acting chops perspective, who would you say is the best actor you ever worked with?
Wow, there've been so many great ones. Shirley Maclaine. I did the sequel to Terms of Endearment, so I worked with Shirley Maclaine, and she might be it. She's a very, very interesting person, personally and professionally. But I knew I was in a whole other world when I was working with her. And then also I got to say, Steve Martin and Diane Keaton. That was playing with some big boys. Um, uh, Stanley Tucci. That was a high point for me. He's such a freaking great actor, and wow, what a funny guy and interesting person. Um, who else? There've been so many. Dixie Carter was amazing on Designing Women, working with her. Um, I got a lot. I got a lot.
You certainly do. And by the way, I found it's interesting that you were in the movie with Christopher Reeves, and then
He was great, and Burt Reynolds was really sweet. Kathleen Turner was nice. I mean, I didn't really have that much with her, but I really super enjoyed working with Chris Reeve. He was really cool, really, really cool guy.
I love kind of the interesting ways that life happens, and
Yeah.
you work with Superman, you become Superman. It's
That more than anything. That's what's the craziest thing for me. I'll go to Twitter and like 95% of my stuff is from Justice League. People, I don't know if there are fewer people, but they're rabidly into it, or this is the volume of people in my career. I look at them, I was like, well, God, you look. It looks like I've not done anything but Superman, and I haven't. I don't know. I did 80 episodes of Justice League, and then I've done a bunch of video games and one-off movies. And I was like, but it's, I guess, just something stick. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm good. Whatever. I'm good with it.
And you mentioned Shirley Maclaine doing the the
Terms of Endearment sequel.
Terms of Endearment.
Right.
I had Laura Coyote on, and Laura, that was her first movie. And
the Evening Star.
Yeah.
Or Terms of Endearment.
No, the follow-up, the one that you were talking about.
Wait, who?
Laura Coyote. You know her from. Have you watched Tarantino's Django Unchained?
Yeah.
It was Miss Laura. The say bye, Miss Laura.
Yeah. I don't think I worked with her on the movie, but yeah, got it.
You didn't, but she was mentioning Shirley Maclaine specifically because she said that was her, first acting lesson in a way, because Shirley Maclaine was supposed to be silent basically in the scene and just observing her scene, and she stole the scene because of how great she was acting wise.
Yeah, she's really great.
Yeah.
So. She's like one of those actors that's like an animal, and like Kevin Spacey was like that. Who else is like that? There other, De Niro and Pacino when they're younger, I think more than now. But and James Dean and people, they have this sort of crazy, or Philip Seymour Hoffman. They have like a stillness about them when they're in a scene that they may not be talking, but they're listening and they're thinking, and you feel them. You feel them. Whatever they're doing, they don't have to do anything. It's one of the hardest things ever to do as an actor on film is to be actively listening. It's very difficult because the story is disjointed, and you're off camera or you're on camera, and you do it 10 times and you've been there for 12 hours, and it's not like doing a play where you have you got to ramp up and you're there for 2 hours, but on a set it's real hard to be an authentic, active listener.
Yeah.
But when you've got more action, physical action and behavior in the scene, much easier. But when you're just really responding to somebody on film, to make that watchable and interesting, just that's where the art is, I think.
I agree with you completely. My audience knows that I'm about to mention this, but Mark Rylance in Bridge of Spies,
Mm,
uh, first 2 minutes of him doing almost nothing and just being so incredibly small but palpable of
yeah,
everything that was going inside. I said, if he doesn't win an Oscar for this role, I don't know acting, and he did.
yeah,
But that's that blew me
yeah,
away. So,
yeah. Agreed. Um, and two actors who are in my category, but they're wildly more successful. Jason Bateman and Paul Rudd, who I think are. I mean, I watch them and I just fucking hate both of them because they're so talented. I fucking hate them because they're really, and Paul Rudd especially, who's so funny, and
yeah,
he's a handsome guy. So fuck him. God damn it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse, but God,
no, you can
so
absolutely.
mad. I'm like, God, he beat me. He just beat me. It's just clear. So anyway, no. But that's another thing you have to just sort of get, okay, there's room for everybody. But no, those guys, in terms of listening, I think both those guys, like Jason Bateman in Ozark and Paul Rudd in any movie that Paul Rudd does, like his listening, he's such an active listener. Like This Is 40, his stuff with Leslie Mann, I was like, shit, I watch him all day. God, he makes me laugh. It's really great.
Yeah,
So anyway,
I agree. Except, okay, never mind. I was going to pay you a compliment, but it's going to be a really long story, so we'll just skip that.
sorry.
From my perspective, you're just as talented. So, moving on. So,
Thank
uh, what's one thing that most people do not know about?
Don't know about what? Me?
Do not know about you?
That I'm an olive farmer.
Really?
Yes, I'm at we have a place up in north of Santa Barbara, and I don't know if this camera can see now. I'll show you over here. I'll walk. I don't know if I might lose a signal, but I'll see if we can.
Sure.
I have we make olive oil, and we've had this property for a while, but these are some of the bigger trees here.
That's
Um,
amazing.
so these are right here. You can see these. See those olives right there.
We
So
love. Okay, I see it now. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, this sort of, you can kind of see where we are, Central California.
Beautiful.
Uh, yeah, it's real pretty. And so anyway, yeah. So we just started. I've had the trees for a while, and I planted a bunch of baby trees, and we're making oil. We made 11 gallons of oil this last year, and gonna market it and sell it and use it and give it to friends and give some away, and it's gonna be fun. So that's what nobody knows that, but we'll
That's
get that
awesome.
out. And I'm also a musician, and I was a musical theater person for a long time. I was a ballet
Mhm.
dancer for 5 years. So,
Wow.
and yeah, I can kind of do a little of a lot things, but nothing really super well. So,
Wow,
uh,
you're a well-rounded person. That's what matters.
yes, jack of all trades, master of none. But
Yeah. Do you have a name for the olive oil that you're going to be
not yet.
producing?
We're working on it. My wife is she's also an actress and a designer, and she's very particular and very specific about how she wants this bottle to look. So we're waiting to see
Okay,
what she comes up with. But it'll be amazing, I'm sure.
that's awesome. Last question for you. If you had a chance to to go back in time and talk to that young kid who just came to LA trying
Yeah.
to make an actor, and you had one piece of acting advice that you could share, what would that be?
I think I almost said it earlier, which is
Mhm.
uh, in terms of acting advice or career advice.
Career advice.
Career advice, I would say, learn how to write.
Yeah.
Learn how to write. Learn how to write. And if you don't know how to write, find some writer friends and work with them on an idea and say, look, I don't have any money, but our success is we'll feed off each other. Help me here. We got to help each other. Blah 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 blah. But that is the most proactive thing you can do. And then after that, get in a class. Make sure you're in class, and then as much as you can, have a life. You know, have a life, have a love life. Get a job. Don't sit around waiting. Get any old job if you can. Stay active. Um, you know, get connect into your spiritual life as much as you can, because you're. I don't want to. I don't. I mean, I was trying to find a polite way to say this, but you really are on your own. It's completely self-motive. You have to motivate from the bottom of your toes all the way up, because no one cares if you're an actor or not. No one cares. Matter of fact, many are rooting against you. It's just the way it goes. So you must say, I really want to do this, and I will give myself an action plan every day, and I will do these things. I will make my bed. I will go to the gym. I will eat healthy. I will connect with people. And when I get down, I will find and connect people that are positive, and I'll stay away from negative things and drugs and alcohol. Forget it. Don't go there. But have a life, have a life first and foremost. So,
Yeah, great advice. Not just for younger self, but for
well,
me,
yeah,
for
yeah,
audience.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Listen. Ain't nobody getting out of this thing alive. And at a certain point, if you've been quote unquote a professional actor for 10 years, and you're not getting any jobs, you're not getting any traction. At a certain, you kind of maybe you go, well, maybe I can be creative in other ways, because sometimes it's not worth the torture. I will be honest. It's not at any cost. The life of an actor is not worth it at any cost, guaranteed. Because there's so much in life. There's so many amazing things about life that if you just shut yourself off because I got to make it, I got to make no one. First of all, you're never going to get a job that way, because you're desperate and you're miserable. So lighten up on your career sometimes. Take it seriously if you want, but lighten up on that and be serious about your life, because then there's no pressure on the career. You're an interesting person. You're growing. And if it doesn't work out as an actor, you won't have fucking wasted 10 years making yourself miserable. So live your life. That's what I would tell my younger self. Relax. It's going to work out one way or the other. Maybe you'll be a successful actor. Maybe you won't. But if you're not, do you want to waste your life being miserable and somebody who bitches and moans? No, nobody wants that. Better to be a happy grocery store bagger than an unhappy, unsuccessful, or semi-successful actor. Go do something completely different, honestly, because it's just not worth it. It's just, I mean, life is too precious, honestly. So,
Yep, still learning those lessons myself. So
yeah, everybody, yeah, good, it's good life lessons. And hey, guess what? You can still be a creative person and appreciate acting and appreciate actors and theater and do all that and be supportive and even do stuff on the side. You don't have to make your living doing it. You don't have to. You can still do other things and still be an artist. You can still call yourself an artist. And you can get a paycheck from something else. So,
well, that's what I'm doing now, and it took me a
oh,
while
great.
to get
That's
to the
great.
point where I was okay with that and not miserable and not thinking of myself as a failure because
Oh,
I'm.
no, absolutely not. And when you click into that mindset, you win. You win, because nobody can define necessarily any actor out there right now. Nobody can define your success but you. Because I'm gonna tell you what, even if you're really pretty successful, there are lots of voices out there and in your head that tell you you're not making it. So there will never be satisfaction. You'll never be a successful enough actor by anyone's imagination. Other people may tell you that, but you'll know that, oh shit, I have to just decide, what am I feeding myself? Am I taking care of my family and my business? And are some of the jobs fun? That's about as good as it gets, because I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of miserable, bitterly miserable, successful people out there. I mean, who make gajillions of dollars. But I like Matthew McConaughey. He's a perfect example. Normal guy, movie star, moved back to Austin. It's like, I like living in Austin. Great. That's where his life is. So find your life, and your career will be what it's going to be. You know. Yeah.
Find your life and your career will follow. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
George, it's the conversation I've been wanting to have with you for a while. I'm very, very happy that we were able to do so.
Well, thank you so much. You got a good show. Keep it up and stay safe, buddy.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. We know you love acting as much as we do, and that's why we do this for you. Thank you.
Awesome. See you later, buddy.